Today is Tuesday, June 2nd. It's about 7:30 in the morning and it's about 71 degrees and I'm going to do a garden diary. I'm not quite sure why my cooler is on. We sleep with it cold, but we shut it off already. So. Stick like oleander, but now it's getting a little poofy top. We're down to just a few pomegranates. I still have yet to repot those. I was gonna cut this back, but the bees have been liking it so much that I'm leaving it alone for now. We tried to poof these up to take out some of the dead in the petunias. My cilantro is done for the season. Growth in there. This is about ready to start blooming. We planted some petunias that we had propagated. This one didn't make it. And then on the 30th, I propagated some more petunias and calibrachoa and some of these phlox. This is the Blushing Bride phlox, but the ones that we propagated were from out in the front yard. They're kind of a neon pink. The jasmine's almost spent. It smelled beautiful this year. Oh, I also took a lot of from this purple lantana, so I should have a lot of propagations from that too. Oh, this is about ready to start getting some color. My lilies that bloomed are spent, and then that red lantana came back to life. This has gotten really bushy. Those are pretty. These petunias aren't looking too good, so hopefully we'll have replacements for them shortly. bees are in this. My husband got this all buried and cleaned up. So we have 3 in here. And then we're gonna get into the hundreds. So we're covering things. This is the more heat sensitive plants in here, so I've got them under this shade cloth. It doesn't look beautiful, but it's practical. I'm making a covering for that container there to pretty it up. I clipped my cucumbers to the trellis, and I harvested the rest of the lettuce and ate it. I still got some kale back in there that I got to do something with. And these beans don't look that great. Here's a bean that was in the, that I started in the house, and it grew weird. It had a loop in it, so I buried the loop. So I'm hoping it'll do all right. It didn't look good as a baby, that's for sure. The tomatoes against the wall are looking spindly and sad. This is my bed of marigolds, and one of the reasons, oh, it's got lots of little mushrooms in there. But one of the reasons why I put marigolds in here is because we've had some gnarled roots at the end of the season, and so that sometimes is an overgrowth of a certain organism, maybe a nematode, and they kind of get into your soil, and the way to get rid of them is, I guess, marigolds. So after these grow up and produce flowers and everything, and I pulled all of these out of the rocks. None of these are seeds. I intend to turn them into the soil at sometime during the season. This thing started to take off. And this little Tithonia, it gets kind of weepy in the afternoons, and then it's perked up in the mornings. It's kind of a pretty plant. It's, I think, called the Mexican sunflower is another name for it. And then you can see I have tomatoes on here. This is a yellow plum, but the plant just looks sad. They really look sad. And then we kind of have these behind a shade cloth, so you can't really see them. There's a sunflower in here. I don't know if they're doing well with the shade cloth or not. I think they're doing better than those, but I'm not sure. It's probably not the greatest bet for them. So then we have this tomato, and we accidentally took the top off of it, so it may be done growing. There is another stem from that, so it could keep growing. It'll be interesting to see what happens. There's our peppers. And we've got lots of peppers. Cubanelles, Fresnos, Anaheims. I don't know if I have any jalapenos. I don't know that I got any, but I harvested some of the seeds from these onions, so I'm going to take and throw this into the composter and redo some. I want onions so bad, but I'm not good at growing them. There's my cherries. My husband put the next layer on there. This was a volunteer plant. I don't know what that is yet, but it came up back there and we're just kind of letting it grow to see what happens. I harvested some strawberries yesterday. This plant took off, that tomato plant, because that was the one that we transplanted from another pot, and it seems to be doing pretty well. We have been fighting cucumber beetles, and I also got a tomato hornworm in here. But yeah, there's quite a bit of devastation, and I think that these are like the pupa or something. I'm not sure. But they're everywhere. It's taken over this plant. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to we've been spraying it, we've been picking the bugs off, we've been doing all sorts of things, and I'm about to the point where I'm gonna pull it and replant some seeds at some point. We put a bug detector thing out here, and we haven't gotten any or very few of the bugs that are actually living on this, so we've been hand picking. It's tedious and sad. There's the peppers from this direction. They'll look pretty. Good looking peppers this year. I'm really pleased with how these are growing. I think they like the shade, and I don't mind giving it to them. I was surprised. I looked at a picture that I took on the 23rd of April, and you could see like the only thing that stuck out in the picture were the markers for the plants. Now look at these eggplants. They look pretty. I gotta cut off some leaves that are doing bad. They had something eaten on them, and I think this yellow thing is helping. We went and bought at Home Depot some plants this past week. These are Black Beauty eggplant. I wanted these here, the smaller eggplants, and I wanted some large ones because we really use eggplant as a meat substitute. And I felt like, and I freeze it, so I felt like I wanted to get more of the big ones. So there's 3 of those. There's actually 4. I think this is 2 plants. And then I had 2 tomatillos that came up voluntarily, so they're probably ground cherries, basically. I had one here. There was actually 2 in this bed here, and I transplanted this one, and it seems to like its new home. It didn't even wither. And this is zucchini, Black Beauty zucchini, Black Beauty squash. So this is a Black Beauty bed. And then these are seed starts from the house, and it's spaghetti squash. 2 of those came up. I planted 3 seeds, and I actually got all 3 to germinate, but 1 didn't germinate properly. And then that Malabar spinach isn't doing anything yet. I don't know. I think this is getting close to not too much longer, and I'll be able to pick some of these pods when they dry. These are starting to dry. Got something eating on it probably. These are peppers. I think I have to look at this. If this is what I think it is, they're cantaloupe, I'm pulling it. We like cantaloupe, but for some reason, I'm not sure how to grow it properly. This one's got some peppers on it. This is probably my oldest plant that I pulled out of the rocks. These are cowpeas. And then my okra, I actually had some, in fact, this is a little okra. I had a few bloom. This one's blooming, or going to. So that's the okra. Another view of the yard. I know these shades cloths don't look that great on the garden, but the plants sure do like them. So, and we even have one because we cut this one. So I'm gonna bind the edges where I cut it, and then we made this one and that one. And then I've got another one that we're probably gonna put across here because I already expected that I'd have some vines across here to kind of shade these zucchini, and I don't, so. This little magic 8-ball is doing good. I hope it gets some bloom soon. That's my garden diary.